He forgot that he wanted to learn a guitar. Maybe he forgot that he wanted to ride a motorcycle. Or maybe he wanted that sports car, but he never had the money to pull it off. And maybe, just maybe, even dating, he never was adventurous enough to date somebody who maybe made him feel excited or whatever the heck else. Okay. So all these different things. Well, let's go. This is another episode of Skep and NoCo Talk Relationships. This is your boy Skep the Goat, aka Uncle Skep, aka Skep, and I'm here with my lovely co-host NoCo, aka No Comparto, cause she don't share, aka Lil Miss. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. NoCo. What are we talking about today?
Hey, Skep. So today we are going to discuss that midlife crisis. That midlife crisis. Ready for
Mm-mm-mm.
this?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. This is a good one. So let's do the disclaimer thing first. Let's get the disclaimer out of the way. Um, I will I will be participating in and exercising a bit of generalization. So please forgive me if you would like for me to be more specific, or you think that I should apply whatever I'm saying to one specific group. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to generalize a little bit, and I just ask that you be a bit understanding of that. Um, Along those lines, we are talking about a relationship where there is a man or a woman in a relatively traditional type relationship and the challenges that might face those relationships. But I think what we're about to talk about could apply to a lot of different types of relationships. Do you have anything to add to that disclaimer, Noko?
Nope. Um,
No. Okay.
no.
So then I will say this then. If you enjoy what you're about to hear in the least, please consider liking, subscribing, and following Skep and NoCo Talk. You could do it on whatever podcast platform you listen to podcasts on, or on YouTube, or both. It's up to you. But look out for your friends and family and share. So, with all that out of the way, NoCo, let's talk about midlife crises and what that means. So, if you would do me a favor, and I know this is probably something you probably rarely ever think about, you being so young and full of energy.
Okay. Throwing that out there. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
You know, um, what do you think of when you think of a midlife crisis?
um, that's such a tough topic because I think I've been conditioned to think of certain things with midlife crisis. Like when you hit a certain age and you're buying everything, like my parents. I think they're past that midlife crisis stage now. But when they went through that stage of just buying things and living their best life,
Okay.
that things don't make sense. No shade, I love you, parents. I love you. But you went through it too. So I think I've just been conditioned. Certain things you just associate with midlife crisis, buying a motorcycle at 60. Like, come on. Things like that um, tend to be midlife
Uh,
crisis things.
okay. All right. Well, you know what? I would say this, Noko. You aren't alone. I think we've all been conditioned to believe that certain phrases, certain terms mean certain things. And this short amount of time that we've been conversing and doing this show, there's been a few different topics that you thought one thing about it, but once we started talking about it, you're like, that's a little different. Didn't really look at it from that angle. And so I'm going to attempt to present the midlife crisis in a way that might make you do the same thing. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the most traditional and most widely accepted version of a midlife crisis. You just kind of hinted at one of them. Guy hits his 40s, 50s, whatever, and he goes out and he gets him a motorcycle. Or a guy hits his 40s, 50s, and now he's dating a friggin' 20-year-old or something crazy. And everyone's looking at him like, okay, so that's what you do now? So you went from driving a minivan for 20 years and now you have a Corvette? That's what you do now. You're the Corvette guy now. Okay, all right. Must be a midlife crisis. Oh, now you want to learn to play the guitar. Must be a midlife crisis. And so it comes in a lot of different forms. And so I'm going to deal with that first. I would argue that a midlife crisis is nothing more, not really even a crisis, nothing more than an individual exercising a new opportunity to do what they've always wanted to do. Something that's always been within them, something they always want to do. Maybe he always wanted to play a guitar, but he's been so busy taking kids to soccer practice and just trying to work as much as possible to try to provide for his family that he never thought about what he wanted. He forgot. He forgot that he wanted to learn a guitar. Maybe he forgot that he wanted to ride a motorcycle. Or maybe he wanted that sports car, but he never had the money to pull it off. And maybe, just maybe, even dating, he never was adventurous enough to date somebody who maybe made him feel excited or whatever the heck else. Okay. So all these different things. All right. Now, I want you to hold me to this, NoCo. I want to come back to the dating one. So hold me
Okay.
to that. I want to come back and touch that one.
Okay.
And so that's the way we're conditioned most of the time to look at a midlife crisis. It's some quote unquote older guy who's now doing some stuff that seems brand new to his friends and family, and they'll wonder what he's going through. But I'm going to take that another step further. Women largely used to stay at home and support the household. They used to support the household through taking care of children, supporting their husband and whatever his endeavors were. But in recent years, and I don't mean like last year or the last couple of years, recent decades, women have been leaving the home, so to speak, and pursuing their own careers, their own opportunities to pursue endeavors. And that has resulted in women now experiencing this midlife crisis thing where now they want to go hit up the club like they haven't done in so long. Maybe they want to take on a new hobby that they've never done. And their kids are looking confused like, "What? That's what you do now, mom?" But they don't know that their mom existed before they were born. She had dreams and goals and she had things that moved her before they were born. And so it may be new to the kids. It may even be new to some of the friends and family, but it's not new to the individual. It's not new to the man or woman who always had those thoughts in the back of their head, but they just never got a chance to act on them because of responsibilities. Maybe they didn't think it was for them. Maybe they were raised relatively conservative and now they're kind of comfortable or coming into their own where they feel more comfortable in their skin to try these things that always were in there. Okay? Are you following me so far? Are you okay with what I'm saying so far?
Yeah, actually, I think that you're spot on with a
Okay.
lot of things. I'm just going to comment. So, like, I know I called out my parents earlier, and that's why I said that kind of condition because my father was someone who got the motorcycle, got the tattoo at an age where people would kind of question why he was doing
Oh.
it. But you could tell he always wanted to do it, right? He had finally had the funds to do it, and he was extremely happy. My father's up there in age. You try to act like I'm so young, but my father is up there in age. So when he went through his process, it was entertaining to see. He seemed extremely happy. So I can follow you and agree with what you are saying.
Okay, that's good. So me presented from a different angle, you accept this different angle that I'm presented from. It's always been there. It's not really a crisis.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I I told you to put a pin in something for me, put a bookmark, if you will, and hold me to coming back to something. And you remember what that was, Noko?
You said
You remember?
dating, the dating
Yes.
piece. Hmm.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. This one's a little bit different than the rest of them. Okay. So whereas the rest of them were always in there. And dating to some extent, it falls into that category to some extent, but not completely. Where it does fall into it is let's say some guy's 40, 50, some woman's 40, 50, because there's a name for that now. They're called cougars. Okay. So there are older women who decide to go younger with their dating
Hmm.
preferences. And so
No,
it's not
no
just for
problem
men.
with that. Okay, all right.
It's not just for men. And so when these individuals go and date someone who's much younger than themselves, even though it may be viewed as a midlife crisis, kind of what's part of that is they are refusing to accept the fact that they are no longer that young person that they were, that they wish they still were. Okay, so this is where the crisis kind of comes in. But to some extent, it falls in line with the other things I say where it's always been there. So let's say that this guy is dating someone who's much younger. This woman's dating someone that's much younger. When they look in the mirror, they don't see a 50-year-old or 45, whatever. They don't see that. They still want to see that young person that they once were. And and dating this person that's younger than them, they don't see anything wrong with it because they feel like it's a match. This older woman dating this young guy, they feel like it's a match because hey, I can keep up. I still do it. I can still do it. Like I can still hang out. I can still go to the club. I can still shake it up, whatever. And they feel completely comfortable with that. But this is when it gets into the crisis category. It's one thing for you to be older and dating someone who's much younger than you, simply because when you look in the mirror, you still feel young, so to speak. These kids try to make you feel old. Your life try to make you feel old. The amount of years you have on your job or whatever else wants to make you feel old, but you just don't feel it. You're like, nah, I still have it like I used to. But when you start dressing and acting like you were actually young, that's when it starts bordering on crisis. And we've seen it. We've seen these older men who try to dress like they're 25 years old, 20 something years old, and it just looks awkward and weird. It's it's like it's okay to accept that you shouldn't be wearing skinny jeans. You're a grown man, okay? You're a grown man that's a few years away from retirement, and you out in these streets dressing like you just entered college. It's a weird look. I'm not gonna say it's a bad look, but it's a weird look when you see someone's trying too hard. And for me, that's when I think it borders on crisis. If a woman or guy is dating younger and they start trying too hard to fit in, to look the part, instead of just being who they are, even if they feel young on the inside. Now, this is where I thought that maybe, because I know you don't like certain words, this is where it'd be an opportunity
Hmm.
for for you not to follow me. So I'm curious. What do you think, Noko?
I have a couple of things going through my mind right now. First of all, a question to you. So, do you not believe in the statement, age is nothing but a number?
In what regard?
Into this scenario, right? Because you kind of mentioned that that person could look in the mirror and they don't feel that way, or they can't dress a certain way.
Hmm.
So, is age nothing but a number to you? Just in general. How about that? Just in general, is age nothing but a number to you?
That is a great question. And so my short and fast answer to that is I will accept that. Age is nothing but a number.
Okay.
You are what you say you are. If you are 60 years old and you tell yourself you're 60 years old, you're going to start adopting 60-year-old ways or what you think a 60-year-old should do, those ways of operating. If you say forever 25, then you'll be forever 25 no matter if you're 80. You don't give a crap. And so yeah, in that regard I say age is nothing but a number. This is where I won't follow you, Noko, and I can't quite accept that. You may feel like I don't care. I might be 55, but I'm 25 on the inside. Okay? That sounds good. Mentally, that sounds good. You know what is 55? Your knees. Okay? You can't be in the club trying to drop it like it's hot with 55-year-old knees thinking you're not going to pay for it the next day. Now, you might pull it off. You might have them going. You might have people food for an evening. But the next day, your body is going to tell you that you cannot keep up. You can stay up drink. You can do shots. You shot. You can go hang out, do shots all night, and you can pull it off for one night. But the next day, whatever God you pray to, you will ask Him to please save you and protect you from yourself in the future. And you will promise Him that you will never do that again. There's a
Oh,
price.
okay. Alrighty. So now the next part, because I had to like take some notes to make sure I didn't forget.
Okay.
You comment on the clothing, and so I don't know if
Mm.
you could tell that that was going to bother me
Oh,
and
I know.
rub
Oh,
me the
yeah.
wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you saying that certain ages can't dress certain ways? Now, there's a couple of things that I want to comment on. First of all, I don't like males in skinny jeans. That's B period. It's a no for me. But a lot of men have mentioned how that is a lot of what's being sold, right? Like
Mm,
it's the market now. So the what is it? I don't know. The variety they can look from is very small if they want
mm-hmm.
something that's fashionable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry for that long pause because I'm just still in so much shock that you threw the clothing in there. And then are we saying that a woman at a certain age can't dress some certain ways? And that is what society says, right? And then that goes
Mm-hmm.
back to what you kind of said of this like midlife crisis. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at it that way. Now, yeah, there's certain things that young people shouldn't wear, right? I think that that's all across the board. But I think that if someone wants to wear something because let's say they are dating younger, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now at that age, if you're dating younger, you're not just competing with like you're competing with young folk. Like let's be
Mm-hmm.
real, because that is who that's closer to their age, probably more relatable, right? So you're trying to stay hip, let's just say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still pull it off. I just don't see anything wrong with wanting to dress a certain way as a crisis. I
Okay.
just I can't I can't put the two together. I'm sorry. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So I will accept the fact that there's a range. I will only go this far. There's a range of acceptability. Okay. If you want to dress young, you don't have to be 20 to dress like a 20-year-old. There is a range beyond 20 where you can still get away with doing said thing. If you're 65, 70, I think you're outside the range. And
I
okay,
don't think
I'm
that's
just gonna
true, Scap.
I, okay, 1 second. Now I'm gonna take another step further. I'm gonna take another step further, especially when we're talking about dating. Wearing a pair of jeans that a 20-year-old wears, nothing, no problem, whatever. Who cares? Hell, you could even get your ears pierced if you want to do that. Young people doing it, cool, whatever. Um, but if the new style is tight fitting t-shirts and you a 65, 70-year-old man trying to wear tight fitting t-shirts to keep up with the youngsters, they got young bodies. And now you're playing a game that you don't really want to play.
Well,
It's getting
Scap, hold
interesting.
up.
No, no,
Scap.
let me help because I know you want to counsel me. If before you do such a thing, let me clarify. You may do it. And I'm okay with you doing it as long as you know you're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody.
Okay,
The
so
other thing
Skip,
I'll say, okay, what's up? Go for it.
yeah, Skip, hold up. Because at
Mhm.
65, 70, the way you work out, you're going to look just like the young kids. And so if you wanted to wear a tight shirt, you saying you can't wear a tight shirt? You work out. A lot of 65-year-old, 70 men work out. They can't wear the tight shirts.
I don't want to wear
I'm
a
not
tight shirt
saying
now.
that you're
So that's part of my
65,
problem.
70. You
That's
said
part of my
what?
problem. That's part of my problem. Just like you don't like the skinny jeans, I'm not trying to wear a tight shirt now. So
Well, if
so
any
maybe
of
that's
your
my own personal bias. But
yeah,
that's
that's see, now the truth comes out. That's all. That's all I was trying to get to. There
okay.
it
So
is.
let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, Noko. And I want to know if you accept this. Let's say a younger man is dating an older woman, or a younger woman is dating an older man. Do they date them purely for their physical characteristics or because they think that they have young energy or whatever? Or is it because there's something else that comes along with that age that they appreciate and they respect? Be it their worldviews or maybe how they just see things or maybe how they could have a conversation without talking about quote unquote young people stuff or whatever. There's more depth to them, possibly or potentially, on a more consistent basis that they're willing to go that route. And it's not because, oh, Charles has washboard abs like a 25-year-old. It's like, nah, that's not why she's really into him. She likes everything that comes along with it, or he likes what comes along with dating that older woman. Would you accept that?
Yeah, I think results may vary. You know that little
Of
disclaimer at the
course.
bottom
Of
then
course.
thing. But yeah, I think somewhat. Yeah, it's more so who they are as a person, not the
Mhm.
physical looks. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and so for me, I feel like if you're going to go that route and you're attracting uh younger men or women, or you're attracted to younger men or women, and you're quote unquote midlife crisis, then I think you can get away with just being you. You can get away with just being you, and as long as you're being authentic. If because there are people that when they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, they had a similar energy, and they always exist with that energy. As long as you're being authentic and who you truly are, and you just so happen to be dating someone that's younger, for me, it's not weird. It gets weird when you think you need to switch it up in order to date this younger person. So that's where it is for me. That's where it gets weird is when you're not being authentically yourself.
Mm, mm. Okay. I can't
You're
agree with that.
okay.
I don't know if too many people are doing that. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
that way, but I can agree with that. Yeah. So you won't have any arguments with me from
Now,
that.
when you say that, are you referring to people are switching it up in order to date younger, or you're
Right.
saying you don't know if too many people are staying the same as they always were and dating younger?
I don't think people are switching it up just to date
Okay.
younger. Yeah. I
and,
think
and
that.
I would agree
Mhm.
with you on that.
Yeah.
I will agree. I will agree with you, and that's the reason why I said with the dating younger, we need to come back to this because, in my opinion, I think people are being who they are, and it just so happens. So it's not a midlife crisis. It was always them. It was always in them. The only time it borders on that is when you play the switch up game, and now you have this much older woman, much older guy doing all these new weird things.
And yeah, and just sorry to cut you off. I've been doing that a lot lately. I mean, I guess you're triggering me. But it goes back to that comment of age is nothing but a number. That's kind of why I asked it, right? Because although that person might be dating younger, that younger person may be more mature. Like it's so many different factors that may
No,
factor in to why they are dating younger, right?
true.
So just to kind of throw that out there. But I'm good, Scott. So
Okay,
yeah,
you're
I
true.
think we
Okay.
came to the same conclusion somewhat.
Okay. All right. So with this one, our common ground on this one is that we both accept that even though someone may have put off doing something for 10, 15, 20, 30 years in some cases, just because it may be new to their friends and family, it doesn't mean that they're going through a crisis. It just means that they are finally getting around to getting back to something that was within them. And that would include even in a dating scenario, if they now find themselves dating someone who's much younger than them, it isn't necessarily because they're going through a crisis. It's because who they are and what they represent combined with who the younger man or woman who they're dating is or are, that it now lines up and it works.
Mm, mm.
So if you accept that, Noko, we
I
can
would
wrap
accept that. Stop telling your folks that they're going through a midlife crisis. Let them live their life. And on that note, Skep, I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks for listening. For more content, go to skepandnocotalk.com. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And don't be shy. Comment and share on all your favorite platforms.